July 20th, 1969, a moment that seemed to prove humanity's limitless potential. Neil Armstrong took that famous step, saying the words etched into history, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." The world was watching, glued to their screens. Yet even as the astronauts made history on the moon's surface, some people back on Earth were skeptical. They didn't believe it. And more than 50 years later, the debate around the moon landing hoax remains a hot topic. Was it all just an elaborate show? Let's dive into the theory. Some people say the Apollo 11 mission was a sham created by NASA with the help of Hollywood. They argue that it was all part of the United States race to beat the Soviet Union in the space race. At the height of the Cold War, America needed a big win, something to prove its superiority. But when landing a man on the moon seemed out of reach, did they decide to fake it instead? One of the most famous pieces of evidence used by conspiracy theorists is the flag waving in the vacuum of space. In videos from the Apollo 11 mission, you can see the American flag appearing to ripple as Buzz Aldrin plants it into the ground. And that's odd because, well, there's no air in space, no wind, so how could the flag wave? But here's the scientific explanation. The flag wasn't actually waving because of air or wind. It moved because the astronauts were twisting the pole to secure it into the rocky surface. That force caused the flag to move, and in the low-gravity environment, the flag kept its rippling shape. Another favorite argument for skeptics, the shadows. Conspiracy theorists point to photos from the mission where shadows of astronauts, rocks, and equipment appear to fall in multiple directions, as if there were several light sources. To them, it looks like a stage set, maybe with a few extra spotlights. Here's where perspective and lunar surface come into play. On the moon, the sun is the only source of light, but the rough, uneven ground can reflect light in unusual ways, creating the illusion of shadows going in different directions. Scientists explain that this effect can be easily recreated on Earth under similar lighting conditions, so multiple shadows aren't as suspicious as they first appear. One of the biggest red flags for moon landing skeptics is the lack of stars. If you've seen the photos, the moon's surface looks bright, but the sky behind the astronauts is completely black. No stars in sight. If they were really on the moon, wouldn't we see a star-filled sky? To conspiracy theorists, this absence is glaring proof that the moon was actually a set on Earth, where stars would be hard to fake. But there's a good reason why stars aren't visible in these photos. The astronauts' cameras were set to capture the bright lunar surface, which requires a fast exposure. That level of brightness essentially washes out faint stars in the background, just like if you took a photo of a city skyline at night. The lights are clear, but faint stars disappear. This wasn't a cover-up, it was just a result of camera limitations. NASA has always taken these claims seriously. In fact, they've addressed most of these conspiracy theories over the years, with detailed explanations, scientific demonstrations, and even released more photos and videos from later Apollo missions. Astronauts who went to the moon, like Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins, have spoken passionately about their experiences, sharing stories that just can't be faked. Buzz Aldrin even had a famous encounter with a conspiracy theorist who accused him of lying, and let's just say, it didn't go well for the theorist. But let's pause for a moment. Why do people continue to question the moon landing? Psychologists say there's something fascinating about challenging the official story, especially when it's such a major event. Some people find comfort in believing there are hidden truths, things only a select few are clever enough to uncover. Plus, in an era where we question our governments and big institutions more than ever, it's not surprising that the moon landing would get swept into this wave of skepticism. So, why should we care about these conspiracy theories? The moon landing is one of humanity's greatest achievements, a symbol of how far we can push boundaries when we come together. Doubting it doesn't just dismiss the work of the astronauts. It also undermines the thousands of scientists, engineers, and dreamers who made it possible. That's not to say all conspiracy theories are bad or untrue. Questioning can be healthy. It pushes us to seek answers and sometimes uncovers hidden truths. But in the case of the moon landing, the evidence is rock solid, literally. So, did we land on the moon? Most of the evidence says we did. But in the end, whether or not we believe it is up to each of us. Just remember that sometimes extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And maybe, just maybe, we really did take that giant leap for mankind.